My name is Rick Feldman, and I am your yoga instructor for today. My practice is diverse, and so today we'll be doing back bends. That's what we plan for today. So in order to perform back bends, which strengthen the back of the body and stretch the front, we want to first establish length in the spine. So the first thing I want you to do is I want you to lay on your back with your knees bent and your feet flat on the ground. So it looks like this. From here, you want to tuck your tailbone towards your heels so that you can flatten the lower back to the ground. And then let your arms rest down at your sides, palms face up, and adjust your shoulders to make sure they're comfortably on the floor. So before you can safely go into a back bend, we have to establish length in the spine so that you maintain this length and don't try to fold the spine like a piece of paper. It's not going to be healthy. So you give a few moments, just like maybe a minute or so, a minute and a half, just to let the lower back settle. And the way we do this is through our yogic breathing. We call it pranayama. And what we do is we inhale through the nose and we expand the navel, side ribs, and chest. So I'm just going to expand areas. On the exhalation, we're going to exhale through the tip of the nose, the smallest passage of the nose. And we're going to release the navel, the side ribs, and the chest down, let it kind of collapse into the floor like this. As you watch, you can see, I'm going to inhale and expand the navel, side ribs, and chest. And as I exhale, I'm going to release it down to the floor. I'm actually going to help pull the navel back down to the floor so I engage the muscles and help stretch out the back. From here, I want you to take your legs straight, with your toes pointing to the ceiling. Make sure your tailbone is still tucked under. Try to press your calves to the floor, keep your heels on the floor, press your thighs to the ground, and make sure that your lower back is not arching off the floor. And with the arms down at the side, toes pointing to the ceiling, take a few breaths here. Again, we're going to breathe through the nose on the inhale and the exhale, and we're going to let the belly expand, side ribs and chest expand on the inhale. And on the exhale, we're going to press them to the floor and lengthen the body. Chin should be pointing downward so that the back of the neck is nice and long. One more breath here. Take a deep inhale. And exhale smoothly. Moving on, we're going to take the arms up in the air so that the fingers point towards the ceiling, thumbs point to the wall behind you, and the palms are about equidistant from each other, like the width of the shoulders. Slowly, you're going to exhale the breath. You can take an inhale first, but as you exhale the breath, you can start to take the arms overhead, keeping your heels on the ground, keeping your calves on the ground, keeping your thighs close to the floor, tailbone tucked towards your heels, and lower back on the ground. Shoulder blades will just rock to the point where you may have your thumbs touch the floor, you may have your fingers touch the floor, but you want to work on length all through the body, from the heels to the fingertips. Soften your ribs. Breathe in through your nose, out through your nose. If it's a problem for your shoulders to reach straight arms, you can take your arms out into a Y. That's okay. Nice and easy. Takes about 30 seconds for the body to acclimate to the pose and allow it to stretch and open up. Inhale the arms up in the air. Exhale them back down to your side. Bend your knees, place your feet flat on the floor. With your feet about hip width apart, you're going to want to make sure that the toes are pointing straight towards the wall in front of you and not out to the sides on an angle. We're going to activate the glutes, the butt muscles, and the abdominals and lower back, and a little bit of the legs by doing what's called the supine bridge. We're going to press down through the feet, tuck the tailbone towards your heels to flatten the back of the floor, and then as you inhale, you're going to lift your butt up in the air, nice and high. On the exhale, I want you to lower down, tailbone tuck towards your heels so it doesn't get kind of rounded, or it doesn't arch too much. And then inhale back up. And exhale, lower. Every breath, every movement has a breath. So as I go up, I'm going to inhale. And as I go down, I'm going to exhale. Inhale, going up. And exhale, going down. Go ahead and gently roll to your right side. Lay in a comfortable sideline position for a moment. Let your body acclimate to this position. And then pushing off of your right elbow and your left hand, come up sideways to hands and knees. Coming into a 4-point stance. If your knees have a problem on the floor, you can use a blanket. Put a blanket underneath your knees. If not, your mat's fine, that's okay. We're going to come into a 4-point stance where the shoulders are directly above the wrist and the knees are directly underneath the hips. So it looks like a tabletop position. We're going to extend the opposite arm and the opposite leg in opposite directions. So I'm going to extend my right arm forward with the thumb pointing to the ceiling, and my left leg back so that the toes point to the back wall. I have to press down firmly through my left hand and my right foot to stabilize me, keep it balanced on the floor. Good. Go ahead and lower down. Trying the other side. Left arm forward, right leg back, thumb points to the ceiling, toes point to the back, press down through the right hand. Make sure you have your fingers spread wide on the right hand so that the base is wide for support. Good. Take a deep inhale. On your exhale, lower down. Back to the first side. We're going to extend the right arm and the left leg in opposite directions. And then we're going to try to touch the elbow and knee together underneath the body. If you can, maybe you can't, it's okay. You do your best to try. And we're going to try 5 of these elbow touches. So inhale, reach and extend. Exhale, touch. Inhale, reach. Exhale, touch. Inhale, reach. Exhale, touch. Inhale, reach. One more. Exhale, touch. Inhale, reach. And lower down. Good. Opposite side. Left arm, right leg. Extend the left arm, thumb points to the ceiling. Left leg, right leg is pointing back. We're going to touch the elbow and knee. With an exhale. Inhale, reach. Exhale, touch. Inhale, reach. Exhale, touch. Inhale, reach. Exhale, touch. Inhale, reach. One more. Exhale, touch. Inhale, reach. Lower the leg, lower the hand. Cat stretch. This is truly a mixture of forward bending and backward bending. What we're going to do is we're going to be in the 4-point stance. Want to move the chest forward, draw the shoulders on your back, and move the sit bones. Those are the bones in your butt. When we move the sit bones to the upper back corner of the room, you can see my back is arching into a back bend. I'm trying to create length by pulling the chest forward, shoulder blades drawn back, sit bones reaching back as well. That's an inhale. I'm going to exhale, lose the air through the tip of my nose as I tuck the tailbone down under, tuck the head under, draw the navel under the spine, push the shoulder blades to the ceiling, and create a nice Roman arch. Inhale, lengthen forward. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen forward. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. And one more, exhale, fold. Good. Now I want you to come into Virasana or Hero's Pose. Not everybody is comfortable in Virasana or Hero's Pose. I'm going to show you from the side, actually. I'm going to have my feet together, my heels together, my knees together. I want to take my hips and sit back into my heels and try to stack my shoulders over my hips. Now, lots of problems with this. A lot of people can't fold their knees, not comfortable. They're tight in the quads and the muscles in the front of the thigh. So some people might want to be fist on the floor, their butt slightly off the heels, and they're leaning forward. They might be forward quite a bit. You have the option to decide where your body will allow you to go comfortably. You should be able to breathe during these exercises. If you're holding your breath and you're holding on for dear life, not an option. Chest lifts, roll the shoulders on the back, rest the hands on the thighs, rock the chin. Take a deep inhale. Smooth exhale. Deep inhale. Long exhale. Good. So the quadriceps, or the thigh muscles that attach to the knee and the hip, are going to prohibit you from doing back bends, and they're going to be the hardest part of your program. So we may want to do some other stretches, but I want to start off with some floor exercises because this is only half an hour class. So I'd like you to come down onto your belly, onto your stomach, and we're going to we want this to acclimate. We want this to relax a little bit. So I'm going to take my hands on top of each other like this. My elbows out to the side. I'm just going to take my forehead and rest it on top of my hands. So it takes a few moments for this to relax and let go. And then we can work on some extensions and some back bends from this prone position. From this position, I'm not just relaxing and letting go. I am breathing. I am deep breathing. Inhale, expanding my navel, side ribs, and chest. And I'm exhaling and releasing the breath so that I'm cultivating the breath and the body is expanding and contracting to open up and release. So starting off with the back bend exercises to strengthen the back and open up the front. Put the hands out in front of us. Palms flat on the floor, middle finger point straight forward. We're going to take the forehead to the floor. I'm going to keep my arm for a second, but we're going to take the forehead to the floor, and we're going to do what we did earlier. We're going to extend opposite arm and opposite leg. So I'm going to put my foot on the ground for a second, then I'm going to raise the opposite arm and opposite leg. Inhale, lift. So notice that I have my right hand off the floor, my left arm is off the ground except for that palm, so it's stabilizing me. My left leg is off the ground, and my right leg, the foot's on the floor, but not the knee. I fully extended the right leg so that it's pressing the top of the foot to the floor. Go ahead and gently release. We're going to try the other side. Left hand, turn the thumb to the ceiling, press down to your right hand. Press down to your left foot so the left knee comes off the ground. Lift the right leg, lift the left arm. Look down at the floor, keep your forehead off the floor. Take a deep inhale. Smooth exhale. Another deep inhale. Smooth exhale. And lower down. Go ahead and turn your head to one side. I'm not going to tell you which side to turn it. Whatever side you like, turn your head to one side. Now go ahead and turn your head to the other side. You might notice that it's hard to turn your head from one side or the other. One might be better than the other. It could be balanced, but usually not. Go ahead and extend your arms again. Press down through the palms. We're going to keep the feet on the floor, but we're going to keep the knees off the ground. So the legs are extended so that they're lifting the knee. I'm going to turn my palms so the thumbs point to the ceiling. I'm going to lift my arms and head and chest off the floor. So I'm going to extend forward and really, really reach. Looking down at the floor so my neck is long. Nice and easy. Go ahead and lower down and relax. Take a few breaths here. Check something out. Few breaths. All right. Now, still on our bellies, we're going to do a third one. We're going to lift everything off the ground. That's right, we're going to levitate. So we're going to extend the arms, extend the legs so the knees come off the ground, turn the thumbs to the ceiling. Inhale, extending your arms and legs, dropping your chin. Inhale, lift the head, chest, legs, and arms. I'm not levitating. When I'm extending, I'm strengthening my back muscles so that the front gets lengthened and opens up and the back gets stronger. Deep inhale. Long exhale. One more deep inhale. Exhale, lower the ground, turn your head to one side. Once again, turn your head to the other side. Good. Take your hands beside your ribs. So you're going to have your palms flat on the floor, right beside your ribs. You see how my elbows are directly above my wrist? This is cobra in yoga. So a cobra snake rises up by lengthening forward and up. So we're going to press down to the tops of the feet so the knees come off the ground. We're going to press down for our hands so we have good grounding to lift from. As you press down to the hands, you want to pull back with your hands, pull the chest forward, draw the shoulders on your back, and rise forward and up by pushing down through the hands and back, pulling back. So the shoulders roll down the back, chest comes forward, and you may or may not come very high. Depends on what you're used to. We're going to try this a couple of times. So exhale, lower to the ground, place your forehead on the floor. Couple of breaths here. Once again, pressing down to the top of the feet, keep the firm legs so the knees are off the ground. Press down through the hands, pull back. Inhale, rise forward for cobra. Shoulders moving down the back, chest moving forward. Expanding, opening up the chest. not collapsing. Take a deep inhale. Smooth exhale. One more deep inhale, maybe you rise a little higher. And as you exhale, lower down. Let's press back into our hero's pose. See if maybe the second time around, your quads are a little more open, your quadriceps, your knees, your thighs. Stacking the hips over the heels. Once again, if that's not possible, it doesn't feel right. But notice as I even lean forward to alleviate the stress in my knees and my thighs, my spine is still straight. I'm not collapsing. I'm lifting, elevating. Okay? Hopefully the second time is a little better. So as I said before, the quadriceps are the inhibitors or the things that will stop you from being able to do back bends because they're tight and short in the front and it does not want you to go into a back bend. Okay? So what I want to do is we're going to take, if you have blocks, it's very helpful. If not, it's okay, I'll show you how without. Take the right leg forward and leave the left leg behind. So I'm going to like sort of a lunge. Right leg forward. Blocks for support and balance. I don't have to roll my weight into them. Lean in with the hips. When you lean in with the hips, you want to make sure that this right knee is directly above the ankle. It's not behind the ankle, not forward past the ankle. It's right over it. Chest is lifted. I can be lower. I can take my blocks lower down like this. And I said I would show you if you didn't have blocks. If I didn't have blocks, I could do a couple of things. I could have my fingertips on the floor for balance here like this. Maybe your fingertips don't touch the floor. Maybe it's hard for you to stretch that low. Maybe you have your hands on top of your thigh and you pull it up like this. But you're still leaning forward. Still have your hip forward. And the hip flexor, the psoas, these muscles are in the top of the thigh right here. And they, when they get short, they tilt your pelvis forward and they inhibit you from being able to do back bends. I wanted for this position, I could take my arms up on one side of the ears and really work on my balance and my strength. Notice the back bend in the pose. Okay. We're going to exhale and come back down to the ground. Take the right leg back, take the left. And in a 4-point stance, just to loosen things up and bring it all together, we're going to do the cat's breath again. Inhale, chest goes forward, shoulders roll on the back. Sit bones reach to the upper back corner of the room. On the exhale, we're going to tuck the tailbone down and under, tuck the head, draw the navel up into the spine, and push the shoulders to the ceiling, creating that Roman arch. Inhale forward, exhale fold. Inhale lengthen, exhale fold. Taking the left leg forward, taking the right, leaving the right leg back, leaning in with the hips so that the left knee ends up right over the foot, over the ankle. Lifting the chest and nice and tall. I have my toes pointed in the back. I want to make sure that the back foot does not sickle, does not come over across the midline of the body. So I have to look back there just to see to make sure it's straight. Most of the time, for a lot of people, it does cross the midline. They're trying to avoid the stretch in the leg. From here, we're not just hanging out again, we are breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. So we want to make sure that the breath is smooth and long. Inhale, expand the navel, side ribs, and chest. On the exhale, draw the navel into the spine. Another breath here, deep inhale. You can come up to here. If you don't have blocks, you can come all the way up to here. If your arms are, you want to work on your strength of your back and shoulders, and the balance. They're all choices. You don't have to do that. They're all choices that are provided for you. So if you're happy here and you're happy here, stay there. Okay. Good. We're going to go back to that same cat's breath because I want to integrate the muscles that we just kind of worked on so that they work with the back and the spine and the pelvis. So inhaling the chest forward, exhaling fold. Inhale, lengthen, shoulders drawn into the back, sit bones reaching, piercing through the flesh to the back upper corner of the room. Exhale, folding. One more inhale, and exhale, fold. Good. Checking for time to make sure we have enough time for what we want to do. Check it out right here. Good. We have 5 minutes. So what I'd like to do is use a peak pose. A peak pose means something you've been shooting for. I've been gearing you up towards something where you can put all these things together and it can provide you with an opportunity to try something that you probably wouldn't just do right off the bat. You'd want to warm up first. So this one's called camel pose. There are various stages of camel pose. They call it Ustrasana. It's a Sanskrit word. Camel pose is fine. What I like to do is I like to raise the heels in the back. So I'm going to tuck my toes under, and you see how high my heels are, as opposed to if I took one leg and I dropped it like that, that's much further to the floor. And you're going to see why I want to raise those heels. I want to keep my hips directly over the knees, okay? And I'm going to take my hands with the thumbs pointing to the crack of the butt. I'm going to take the thumbs, I'm actually going to move my shirt a little bit. I'm going to push the tip of the bone down in the back with the thumbs pointing toward the crack of the butt. Lift the chest, roll the shoulders on the back, and try to point my elbows to the back corner of the room, to the back of the room. So I'm extending my chest to the ceiling, kind of like I have hooks lifting me up, hoisting me up into the air. Not so much back, but up. Okay? So while I'm doing this, and while you're doing it, you might feel some tension in the thigh muscles because they might still be a little tight. We've worked on them several times, but it doesn't mean that they're all ready for everything. So sometimes you need a little more. From here, I'm going to take one arm up in the air and extend it up in the air. And I'm going to see, maybe I'll try 2, standing up. And you see how my hips are still in line or over my knees? I'm going to reach up and back a little bit. Trying to go into a little bit of a back bend, but I don't want to feel pressure in my lower back. I don't want to feel pain. So most important thing is length. Elbow tucked down in the back. Chest lifted up in the front, creating length in the spine. And perhaps maybe I'll take one arm back and reach back for this foot. Maybe I won't. Then I may take the other one back and go for the other foot. And for some strange reason, this is camel pose. This is what someone thought of as a camel, but I've never seen a camel do this, which is fine. It's their idea of a camel. Come out, we're going to inhale and sit up tall. We're going to go back to our cat's breath. So I want to kind of work this together again. Don't have any kinks or tightness in the lower back. So 4-point stance. Hold the chest forward, roll the shoulders in the back, move the sit bones to the upper back corner of the room. Exhale, tuck the head, tuck the tail, fold it around, draw the navel into the spine. Inhale, lengthen forward. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen forward. You can't rush these things. Exhale, fold. And it should start feeling better. Okay? If you felt like you were getting fatigued and it was getting tight. I often do this twice, so I'm going to try it one more time. So I'm going to try it this time with my toes on the floor, my heels down, which is a lot harder. It's a lot harder for you to reach. You know, up here it's kind of nice. Down here, not so easy. So we're going to start off with the hands on the sacral, thumbs on the sacral joint, the lowest part of the spine. Pushing the pelvis in the back down so the pelvis in the front lifts up. Lifting the chest, rolling shoulders on the back, pointing the elbows to the back of the room. Taking a few breaths to make sure that we're acclimated, that we create a lot of length in the lower spine. We're not tight in the lower spine, we're lifting, we're elevating. Not a whole lot of pressure, you can hear it in my voice. Pretty relaxed. From here, I'm going to lift one arm up in the air. I'm going to exhale, swing it back. I'm going to lift the other one in the air when I'm ready. And when I'm ready, I'm going to exhale and reach back. Lift the chest, draw the shoulders on the back, and open the front of the body. Deep inhale, long exhale. Another deep inhale. Again, long exhale. Inhale to come up. Cat's breath. One more time. Inhale, chest come forward. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen the chest forward, draw the shoulder blades up the back, slip up to the upper back corner of the room. Exhale, draw the navel up into the spine, tuck the tailbone up the back, drop the head. Inhale, lengthen, and exhale, fold. Good. Let's come into a sitting position. Siddhasana, cross-legged seated position. Again, not everybody knows whether, I don't know whether or not you can cross your legs in this position. Notice I have my feet wide. If I cross just my ankles, I'll never get my shin to go through my foot. It'll always be this high. So you try to finagle your feet nice and wide. Then you take the flesh of your buttocks and pull it back and out to the side. So that you're sitting on your sit bones. Take the fingertips to the floor. Press the fingertips to the floor, lift the chest, you sit up nice and tall. Take a few breaths here. Go ahead and rest your hands on your thighs. And go ahead and turn your palms open. So the thumbs point to the outside. Drag your elbows back so they're right underneath your shoulders, stacked. Again, inhale, sit up taller. Exhale, draw the navel into the spine. So when you bring the navel into the spine, you bring the organs back into the body where they should be. Taking your hands together in front of your navel, palms lightly pressed. Inhale, lift the hands and place the thumbs at the center of the sternum, center of the chest. Drop your gaze into your palms. Take another deep inhale, sit up tall. On your exhalation, fold forward, sealing in your practice. Namaste. Namaste is a greeting between teacher and student. It means the divine in me acknowledges the divine in you. That I'm teaching you, but I'm also receiving information, hopefully. Hopefully you'll be in my class next time and we can work together on how to better train and teach you yoga. Namaste.